Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur and Smith. We are back. Smith was away for a while in Chi-Town. Then when he came back, things were just a little, busy for both of us. Then the coronavirus hit and we kind of got off track. But as you can see, we're practicing some social distancing and doing the podcast virtually with Zoom. Thank God for Zoom. Like I was telling Rachel earlier on my other podcast, we're actually using this in my gym right now because we usually do group workouts. We're using this same thing to do our workouts, but just at home. So there was like 30 people on the screen today when I was working out. It was really cool to see everybody working out at the same time. For those joining us for the first time, we are a podcast about history, politics, and race. And we also do current affairs, and this is from a cool pop culture perspective, which means we have swag. But we bring you all history, politics, and news and current affairs and all that. I'm a filmmaker from Trinidad and Tobago, and I've traveled a lot. I love history, politics, and all that. And Chris here is a veteran of the Army Reserve that works for the VA, and he also has a passion for history, politics, and race, and current affairs, and all that. We always talk about this stuff, even when we're not doing the show. It's about truth, not pro any race, just pro truth. If the truth offends you, we're sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry
is what we always say. And Smith was late again on the not.
You're sounding perfectly to me. So.
On the not sorry. So today, as you guys know, sometimes we'll pick topics and we'll go through it and stuff like that. But today we're gonna just kind of free flow and wing it, man, and talk about some current affairs. I definitely want to start off by talking about the Dems and how everybody dropped out, and Bernie and Biden stayed in. And I want to ask Smith's opinion on all that good stuff and what he thinks about it. Smith, how has work been going for you?
Oh, work's been good. Nothing's changed that much because, there's changes, but I've always been working for the last several years, been working from home. So that hasn't changed. So I'm still doing my stuff virtual like I was before.
Right.
We're expecting more, certain things to increase. So some things things are pretty much the same.
Right.
As it was.
Yeah, you're one of those people that's essentially needed. Like you're an essential worker.
I'm essential, but I was already a virtual person.
You were already doing social distancing. Yeah. So it worked out perfect for you.
Perfect for me.
Yeah, whereas go ahead.
Yeah, the difference is when, and this is for anyone who works from home, is when you're done, if you don't have a family or, you don't have plans and you're done with work, you usually want to go out and visit your friends and stuff. So this is where it gets, I'm used to being home a lot, but
right.
Definitely 24/7.
Right. The only way it affected me is, everybody knows I'm in entertainment. Some of you who've been following us, and our industry is virtually shut down, all productions. Luckily, I have a kids movie that's out that people are renting, and I have a TV show that's out overseas and doing very well social media-wise here. But now, because of this, it's going to come out in the U.S. because the companies need content. The networks need content. So that actually worked out great for us because it was kind of in limbo whether they were going to release it here. So thank God, it looks like we have quite a few networks that now want to release the show. So that's good news for me. But other than that, we're just home getting stuff together. I have a project coming up in Louisiana. It's kind of like Split meets 50 Shades of Grey. So we're getting that script perfect. So we could do that and working on some other stuff, other projects. So we could just hit the ground running once this is over, And that's about it, man. Like I said before, you won't be able to see these two handsome gents in the same location as you normally do. You have to look at us on this like virtual screen on YouTube. But for those who listen to us, hopefully the sound is the same on all the streaming platforms and stuff like that. And we can just keep this thing going. Don't forget to subscribe on ISENT Group Digital on YouTube if you want to watch us. And if you don't want to watch us, still subscribe because we need to get those subscriptions up on the YouTube platform. Yeah, Smith, man, let's jump into it. Like I said, I want to talk about, most of the show is going to be about the coronavirus, but I want to talk about the Dems and what's going on with them too. You know what I mean? Okay. And I want to talk about how this virus is affecting the election. I want to talk about that too. You know what I mean? But so what I was saying is that, it's interesting how, Biden became the comeback kid. He lost the Iowa caucuses, and then one of our good old black folk came and saved him. the one congressman, I forget his name.
Got people out.
Yeah, he got people out, and he came back strong, and everyone dropped out and supported him. And that's the kind of unification we need trying to get Trump out of office. I'm happy about it. You know what I mean? One of the things I'm worried about, though, is that Bernie's movement kind of rivals Trump's. That's what they were saying on the news. And Biden never had that kind of movement behind him. And I hope that they're not making the same mistake they made in 2016 when they bumped Bernie out the way, and all polls showed that he would have beat Trump and Hillary lost. And I hope this time around they're not making the same mistake, and Bernie's constituents won't come out and support Biden. That's what I'm worried about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, now that I kind of think about it a little bit deeper, you're right. He does have a core, a base like Trump does, and they'll be there for him. It is sad to hear that they would almost, that they would stay home and not vote. Mm-hmm. But however, if Biden can keep, the black vote and potentially increase the Latin vote, he might, on that side, be able to offset, because black people, a lot of blacks stayed home and didn't vote, and along with Bernie supporters, I guess. So let's just hope that they, that they see the wisdom of at least picking someone. Will, because you never know. When he gets in office, he still might try to do Medicare for all. He might try some of those things that
Bernie was trying.
Bernie wants to do. He just doesn't. It's just not his platform at this time. Get him in there. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
he still got is it senators or like, you still got freshman class that are in the office that can try and push and hopefully get a difference. But we've got to get someone in there, and if let's do it. Let's get someone in there, and then let's change and get this country going better.
Yeah, and back to the way it was before. I just hope that Bernie's people comes out in support, because they the type who will just stay home if their guy isn't in there. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping when Bernie drops out,
they're not suffering enough to understand, or they're not getting getting treated as badly as people are. You know what I'm saying? And I guess I'm referring to the racist things that are going on. Just it must not be affecting them enough to if they're willing to just sit back and let Trump get back in office.
I agree. I'm hoping that they come out and support whoever, because the inevitable is going to happen. Bernie has to drop out. Whether he knows it or not, whether he realizes it or not.
Yeah. I just wonder.
Way ahead I think of the delegates. Yeah.
I think what you're also saying is the longer he stays in, the more fighting. Where as opposed to if it's seen that he's not going to get it, then he drops out. He asks his supporters to and that he supports Biden. Then there's enough time to build a platform that all the Democrats can get behind. The sooner we again have solidarity and one group.
Then get on like one accord.
Yeah, exactly.
The sooner he does it, the better. Just like you said, because the longer he waits, the more trouble. The more his people are gonna get settled into that. Oh, it's got to be Bernie or bust. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And hopefully Biden picks a cool running mate, a female, and like be on the right side of history. Whether it's Kamala Harris or Warren or Stacey Abrams, I keep hearing her name thrown around.
Yeah.
So hopefully
that would be very cool.
That'd be awesome to have the first female vice, at least. and then it'll be a step up from there. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So that'd be cool, man. Let's see what happens before we go to COVID-19. What do you think about how the election is being affected because of COVID-19? You know what I mean? Which is a good segue to go from the election.
You know, what's interesting is I was reading how people, Trump or someone has said he may not, he may have to delay the election.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But what's really cool to hear is there's an actual, it's already been written. There's a rules about that. So if the election goes past and there's no one elected, the president can't just stay in the office. So this is something that made me rethink the statement that people say, well, what if Trump doesn't leave?
Right.
He can't stay longer in office if he doesn't win, period.
Right.
Whether he wins by 5 or 5,000 or 500,000.
Right, it doesn't matter.
He still has to leave. But if he doesn't leave, the interesting thing enough is Trump has to leave, Pence has to leave, and it goes to the Speaker of the House, which is Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
Nobody, a Republican, would want that. So you can definitely see that they're going to do everything to make this, happen.
That's actually a really good point, man.
But it is a good question, because if the predictions are that the coronavirus, not Chinese virus, but the coronavirus extends all the way till October or even further, which would be November, how would we vote? You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're still trying to do social distancing. Like, you'd have to make voting a very long time, or everyone, and no one's. I've done the absentee ballot thing, but you're in the back of your mind, you're always worried
that
is someone actually, is
they could probably do it the way they did it for this last one between Bernie and Biden. Remember that last one they just did? How did they do it? I think they kind of just kept they kind of did it the way when I went to pick up my editing system. They only let a few people in at a time.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was.
And,
but they're gonna have to extend it to just more than just one day. Is what
I
was.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's gonna have to take it might have to be the whole month or something crazy like that.
Yeah, man. The whole thing is kind of tripping me out, and I'm saying to myself, if Trump gets lucky and gets back in there because of this virus, I'm gonna trip out. You know what I mean? I'm like, because of the voting and this and that, and just all the attention now is on this virus. No one's even talking about that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because he has to focus on the virus. And one of the things that I was explaining to my mother, who hates Trump, is that, I mean, even though this isn't a war, it's kind of a war, and usually wartime presidents get reelected.
Get reelected, but do you think
he has to do things like this $2 trillion, like I want to talk about in a minute, so that the American people go, oh yeah, he know he has to do stuff like that. He wants to get reelected.
Right.
It makes sense, but he has to, and that kind of stuff helps people. What I'm hoping is the never Trumpers stay never Trumpers. People that was, I mean, his base is gonna stay there. They ain't going nowhere. Yeah. And the people that were in the swing states are being swayed. I'm hoping that they, swing towards the never Trump side. Go ahead.
Well, one interesting thing is, and I just even posted or there was a news little article about Trump is more concerned about the economy and stock market than human lives.
Yep.
And I posted it, and someone from high school commented, that's a big jump. And I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He's like, that, the fact that Trump doesn't care about or only cares about the economy. I got to say, I responded back with, that's a true statement. You cannot, but it was interesting because my statement was coming a little, I responded fairly quick on that and don't really have proof, but a couple days later, what does he do? He's already talking about he wants to reopen, have everybody back to work by Easter.
And it's not going to happen.
And the thing is he said when he, tweeted in caps about the economy needing to be reopened and we'll revisit. And I understood what my friend wanted to try to say. And if it would have been a different president, I'd have been like, he's
Right.
probably going to consider all the facts that the, you know, health experts are going to say, and he's going to decide how much longer we should be quarantined.
Right.
But knowing Trump, you know that his idea was, I want to get people back in the economy going. So then I can't. He's more worried about the economy being bad, and that's
absolutely,
his presidency, which it kind of is. But yet, if he wasn't the face of the, you know, like making these daily briefings, he actually would probably be doing better, because he would just have health experts giving out the advice. And then he could tweet and kind of say whatever, but instead he's like wanting to contradict them. And he's been contradicting since the coronavirus was even put out
Fauci
there.
and all them, yeah.
You know, because what he went from, you know, it's very little, no cases, we'll get past this and won't ever get big, to then going, oh, I knew it was going to be a pandemic. You did, because you shouldn't act like it. You didn't lock down the country like you should have.
At that rally, he even said that it was a Democratic hoax. It was fake. Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, which put us 6 weeks behind on getting ahead of this thing. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. But if he cared about human lives, so I'm agreeing with you. If he cared about human lives, he wouldn't be saying, let's go back to work in Easter. He would actually say, let's talk to the experts. But honestly, like Governor Cuomo was saying, and these other governors from these states are saying, I doubted, folks, that we'll be back to work in April. Looks like it may take another 6 to 8 weeks. And that's for the betterment of our livelihood and health.
Of our lives.
Yeah.
Because, who wants to lose?
Because this is what's funny. You know, if he cares about lives, that looks good as well. I know he's only thinking about the economy. And the presidency, but people care about their lives, bro. If because you're making this decision, people end up dying, it's gonna be worse, you idiot. You know what I'm trying to say?
But did you hear the lieutenant governor of Texas?
Today, saying the same thing.
Yeah. So the guy who said, I don't know who asked me, you know, he's 60-something, he has grandkids. He's willing to sacrifice his life for his grandkids. I don't understand what that means. You're just willing to go out there and expose the virus to whoever and as many people, and then hope, because we still don't really know all the facts about it.
Right.
Hope that no matter who you are and who gets it, that they're still going to survive from it. So it's not only taking out grandparents, if you know, the elderly, it's taking out those that have low immune systems, some asthmatic people. There's a lot of, you know, so, you know, and that could also be hitting people who smoke, just whatever, you know.
Which is why it's doing so bad in Italy, because there's so many old people there and everybody smokes there.
Yeah. So it's none of that. And it's, I'm just amazed. I'm actually not amazed. I'm shocked that someone, you know, it was 2 people so far who have made that statement. And, you know, my mother sent me a thing, and I wanted to jokingly go, oh, so you're willing to take your life for Javon? That's really, you know, but no, I don't want her to pass away.
Like,
you know?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. And, you know, and I have to say, I know there are a lot of people that's pissed about him calling it the Chinese virus.
Yeah.
But to me, the only thing that I do like about Trump is that he's not politically correct. I actually don't mind him calling it a Chinese virus. You know what I'm saying? And I know, like, some idiots are taking that and using that as an excuse to go and commit violence again and harass Chinese people. I'm not condoning that at all. What I am in agreement with is calling it like it is. And, you know, and I'm no conspiracy theorist, but, you know, This one time I am, for what I'm about to say. I honestly think because of the tariffs that he put against China, they came up with this stuff and said, F you, America, and here you go. This is war without us dropping a bomb or pulling a gun on anyone. And that's exactly what's happening. I mean, it killed our economy. And I'm going to read to the audience who hasn't seen this thing that one of my famous entertainment friends sent me. And I was like, what? Like, and like I was telling you, the manager at Miramonte, he had told me this, but I didn't believe him.
Mm-hmm.
So then when my entertainment friend sent this to me, and I don't know what book this is in or whatever, but it says, you have to go back 20 months. It was around then that a Chinese scientist named Li Chen defected to the United States carrying a diskette record of China's most important and dangerous new biological weapon in a decade. They called the stuff the Wuhan 400 because it was developed at their rDNA lab outside of the city of Wuhan. And the manager at Miramonte told me that they destroyed the lab right after they finished doing this. He was explaining to me where it was and everything. And it was the 400th viral strain of the man-made microorganism created at that research center. The Wuhan 400 is a perfect weapon. Now, this is like I know you guys probably can't see it, but this is like an official write-up of some sort from somewhere. You know, this is what I was told before I was sent this, and it was interesting that my friend in the industry sent me this. Like, man, you know, it was created because they were just, and they think the same thing, that they were just pissed at Trump. And I'm not saying this is true, people. I'm just saying this is what me and a lot of other people believe. Either way, it came from China. And isn't it interesting that all of a sudden now they have it under control? Like, they have 1 billion people. It started there. That's ground zero. They created it. I don't think it came from the wet markets in China.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. And now they have it under control. They literally had a video on CNN the other day, and the camera was panning down the steps. And as the camera was panning down the steps, the nurses were removing their masks like this and smiling. I swear.
Wow.
And it was almost like a F you America. It was just, to me, the whole thing is just the strangest thing, Smith. And like, it's like our whole way of life has changed. And, you know, I was on the phone with Rachel the other day, and I was in Albertsons. And I just saw one of those cartons of brown rice, the ones you heat up for like 1 minute. It's organic.
Yeah.
Dude, if you see how I reacted, Rachel was on the phone. She started laughing. I was like, oh man, some brown rice, one left. And I grabbed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in that moment, it hit me like the state we're actually in right now.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, just scrounging for some brown rice, man. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like wartime. And I honestly think that China created it, predicted it, and they sitting back laughing. You know what I mean? I'll let you go. Let's get Smith's opinion on it.
Only thing I gotta say is, I mean, do I think it should be called the Chinese virus? Not really. Maybe Wuhan, because of that being like considered ground zero, or the coronavirus. Because what's actually funny is where we live, there's a city named Corona. So, you know, and I know people think about the beer, but I think we think more about the city, and it's just kind of a funny thing. But I don't really follow that theory because of them trying to impact United States, because it's impacted way more than the United States. You know what I'm saying? Italy got hit.
That's collateral damage, just like in a war.
True. But
you know what I'm saying? If the person you want was taken out, you don't care about the people around. You know what I'm saying? Think about it.
Sure. Actually, the one country I am curious to find, because I've heard that there isn't that many, is Russia.
They have some, but it's not as bad.
No, it's not as bad.
And they're allies.
I was going to say, and if what you're saying is true, it actually makes sense why their numbers are low, because they could get the stuff around. I'm not sure if it originated from China. I mean, well, no, I'm sorry. I know that it originated from China. I'm just not sure if they're using it as a biological weapon. Right. Only time will tell. It'll be interesting to find out after the facts, because even though we're in the midst of it, hopefully someone is still trying to. Like, I remember kind of reading them trying to find patient zero. If they could at least figure out who even patient zero is for the United States, who brought it to us. That'll be interesting, and we'll just have to see how it goes.
Right. And I want to touch on how Yang and Charlemagne, Andrew Yang, was talking about how if they could come up with this, why can't they come up with the money for reparations, which would be probably less. You're
Yeah.
covering much less people. You know what I
So
mean?
they came up with $2 trillion to cover, the nation.
Yeah, a couple of
for the most
checks,
part.
some business loans,
Yeah.
all that
But yet
stuff.
they can't come up with.
And I'd said it would be in the trillions for reparations. They really do
You
the
did.
property. If you add the inflation for all the time spent, everything that was created by the blacks in America, everything that, all the lost wages. I mean, it comes up to trillions probably. But again, they could just print the money and make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they can. And then just want to talk about, like I was telling you, Rachel's mail, how she got this stuff from China, from Reddit. She was on a Reddit forum and she got this fake Chanel thing from China. And everyone that was on the forum she was on got it out of the blue, didn't request it. She said she got it, threw it away, washed her hands. And she looked back because she was trying to figure out where it came from. And she happened to see on the same forum people asking the same thing. Hey, did you get this thing from China? And they all got it.
What time? What do you remember? What time frame, or did she say?
It was just recent. It was just the other day.
Oh, it was.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, they were like tripping. Like, what is this? Like, why? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then the other thing that that's a great point, or interesting fact of what happened with her. But it'll be interesting to see how lives go back after this is done. Do we start shaking hands? I prefer let's not.
Yeah.
Will people, because we've definitely seen and been in the bathroom and seen guys just walk straight from out the stall
white boys,
and go right out the door.
Yeah.
So will people go back, continue washing their hands, or will people just be like, everything's good,
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a great lesson for all of Americans.
Yeah.
But just people in general across the world, this is a good lesson. But the question is, will people continue after it's all said and done?
Right. I mean, the funny thing is, a lot of people tend to look at when you don't want to shake their hand, and they look at it as like a form of disrespect. It's almost weird because it's such a social norm. It's almost like a reflex. You go to shake someone's hand. And when you want to just give someone a fist bump or whatever, sometimes they seem offended. Like, oh, you know what I mean? It's always like an awkward thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like I was saying, this really, made me wake up and taught me to not take that kind of stuff for granted at all.
Yeah.
Shaking people's hand, put my hand on my face, and
none
of that stuff. Because we would just do that like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Until something like this hit to wake us up. Like, hey, man, you can't be doing that.
No,
you know what I mean?
Change. It needs to change with the style of just people in general. I mean, it's bad to think that people aren't. I mean, again, we all know and we've all seen people go from toilet to out the door. So not that crazy, but yet you're right. People do look at you like, why don't you trust to shake my hand?
Right. They look at you funny or something. I'm like,
so even I'll just throw out that this past weekend, I went out to just pick up my wine. A lot of the wineries are closed. But Miramonte happened to be open. So I went in, got my wine. I was leaving, and there's nobody there. One car in the parking lot, down low. But then as I'm walking out, I see some of the Miramonte people who just, for whatever reason, decide to come by. It's like, hey, elbow. And then someone, we're close with was like, do you have the Corona? I'm like, no. He was ready to shake my hand. I'm like, oh, no. Here you go.
Exactly. Elbow bump. Because you don't know. If you haven't gotten tested, you don't know. Some of us are asymptomatic. We get no symptoms at all. And we can have it for 14 days and never not know it.
And never know.
And pass it to someone else. Yeah, man. So that's the safest thing to do. I hate to say it. And like I was saying before, for everybody who has a special someone to hang out with, happy for you. If you don't, I feel bad for you. Because that's the one thing at least we could do. At least we could give it to each other. But to me, that's the one thing that I agree with. Like, if you have someone to hang out with, man, hang out. Because other than that, you go crazy sitting in the house, man.
Well, again, I'll just go back to this one group is that they all quarantine themselves in one house.
Oh, they did.
It's like 6 of them, hanging out together.
Interesting.
So so if I had to touch one, well, yeah, you're right. It's still asymptomatic. You never know which one.
Asymptomatic. You never know which one.
Yeah. But it was just, that was actually a smart thing for them to go, hey, we're all going to hang out together.
Yeah.
Quarantine, some people are together, some people aren't, but they're doing this together because that's all they have.
Right. It sucks, man. Anyway, man, I guess that's our show. It's HPR Chronicles with Shakur Smith. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe on ISCT Group Digital on YouTube. And everybody that listens where you get your podcast, thank you. Keep listening. We're going to keep doing it. This episode will come out today, and I'll get together with Smith, like I said, another day before Wednesday. We'll knock out another hour for you guys and bring you the latest, what's going on with this coronavirus and see what's up. And you know what? I heard China was going to help Italy. They ain't to come over here and help, but they probably still mad at Trump. So they probably ain't gonna come help. You know what I'm saying? I heard they were going to help Italy out, because now China is good, man. It's interesting.
Well, again, it is interesting. I remember you mentioning how the video where the nurses.
Yeah, the nurses were taking their mask off. The camera was panning down. It was like a movie. You know what I'm saying? They were smiling, taking off the mask as the camera panned down.
But I remember reading that you never know their numbers because of the fact that they sometimes don't tell the truth. Stuff like that. And just like Russia, their numbers are supposedly low, but you don't know what their numbers
that's true. They said they're not sure Putin is being honest. Yeah. You just don't know.
If they do know something and they've got it figured out, please share it because it's not worth every, if we're at war, at least say something because then we can.
Right.
But you're right. This was the perfect way of taking out nations.
Biological warfare without a single bullet.
Yeah.
Cripple entire nation, the whole world, actually, the whole world. I was looking on the news yesterday. They were showing a place in Victorville that all the planes park at when they're not flying. The girl was like, it's kind of bittersweet. Like we have to hire a bunch of people, but we feel bad that none of these airlines are flying anymore. Yeah. I mean, the planes are literally parked in Victorville at this huge place, brand new planes that we usually see flying. Wow. They just over there maintenance, just keeping the engines clean, no one's flying. I saw a video the other day, and I forgot who it was on what social media platform, and the plane was empty. Someone was going somewhere. And it was a flight attendant who worked for, I think she worked for Delta, and she took a flight, and she showed on her phone how she was like, yeah, guys, I'm literally like maybe one of 5 people on this entire flight.
Yeah.
The airlines were saying that some of them are going to just stop flying because it's not worth it anymore. I'm going to fly 5 people to Texas. It's costing them more to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I know that I believe this past weekend, I remember seeing a couple Southwest planes, but I know Alaska Airlines has been still going. They're dropping like 200 flights or something. Yeah. So, some places are still doing it. But the amount of people that are on these planes, it's like under 10 people or definitely under 20. And they have the whole plane, it's like, and the airports are empty.
I saw a video, empty.
Yeah, so this is just crazy. It's not, I never knew what a pandemic would turn out to be like. But going through this is like
crippled an entire world, man. It's unbelievable. Anyway, guys, you have something you want to say?
Talk.
I know we can talk about it forever, right? Anyway, that's our show, man. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And thanks for checking in. It's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur Smith, and we're out. Peace. I'll see you next week on here, Smith. Don't try and come over.
You either.
All right, peace, guys.